Heaven had grown silent, not in peace, but in anticipation. From the highest reaches of the Empyrean realms to the deepest cracks of the hellish abyss, a whisper echoed across creation. He is no longer bound by chains. The one they spoke of was once a man, once a killer, once a redeemer, now something more, something vast. Simmons, once Spawn, had long transcended the boundaries of life, death, and even divinity. After conquering hell, dethroning Malebolgia, resisting the control of heaven, and absorbing the powers of both realms, he became God's Spawn, a divine anomaly, a walking paradox of vengeance and mercy. Wearing a crown forged in sorrow, his cape now billowed like cosmic fire, his chains forged from time itself. He spoke with thunder and moved between realities like a thought. Yet something stirred in the beyond, a tremor, a challenge. It came first as a ripple in the dimensional wall, then as a roar that shattered cosmic balance. The gods of multiple pantheons trembled. Beings like eternity, infinity, and even the living tribunal turned their gaze toward a single rift opening between universes. Through it stepped a figure too vast for reality to contain. A titan clad in crimson armor infused with primal runes, his body pulsing with the raw force of three cosmic deities, entities of power, mind, and will. The earth beneath his feet cracked on arrival, and gravity itself knelt. Trion Juggernaut had returned. Once the avatar of Cyttorak, Juggernaut had ascended beyond being merely Cain Marco, when the other two aspects of the Trion force, the mental and spiritual, merged with his physical might. The resulting being defied multiversal logic. He became the Juggernaut of concept, the unstoppable force not only of body, but of fate, existence, and metaphysical certainty. Worlds didn't just tremble when he moved, they obeyed. But something unexpected was happening. The powers of the Trion were stirring with agitation. Across dimensions, other unstoppable forces had started fading, weakening, or disappearing entirely. Black holes that once spun with fury now spun in stasis. Beings of pure force were crumbling. Trion Juggernaut was drawn to the anomaly, ACC disturbance bleeding across the universal membranes like divine ink. It all traced back to one figure, God Spawn. In his quest for ultimate justice and equilibrium, Spawn had unknowingly altered the flow of unstoppable force itself. His absorption of heaven and hell had created a singularity of power that threatened to unravel the cosmic checks and balances the Trion represented. He didn't intend it, but his very existence had become a challenge to cosmic permanence. To Trion Juggernaut, there was only one path: confront the paradox, correct the imbalance, or annihilate it. Spawn in the heart of his cathedral of solace, floating bastion of living bone and divine light, sensed the incoming storm. He stood atop a tower of screaming memories, his tattered cape fluttering as angels and demons knelt before him. At his side was the Chrono Sigil, a time-warped blade that cleaved through destinies. He didn't need his sight to know what approached. "It's coming," he whispered, his voice echoing across plains. The unstoppable one. He could feel the pressure long before the being arrived. The cosmic inevitability that now threatened to crush not only him, but everything he had rebuilt. For Spawn, this wasn't just a battle for dominance, it was a battle for his right to exist as a bridge between all extremes. Soon time folded. A tear ripped through the sky above the cathedral, its edges crackling with paradox energy. Trion Juggernaut stepped through, his sheer presence warping the architecture of God Spawn's domain. Towers bent, reality shook. There were no pleasantries, no greetings, only two words. "You end?" Spawn narrowed his eyes, the green glow intensifying as his necroplasm surged. "I was reborn to end endings." Chains lashed outward. Energy pulsed in red and violet bursts. The air grew so dense that angels began falling to their knees, bleeding light from their mouths. This was no battle of mortals. No mere clash of titans. This was the collision of concepts. The divine anomaly against the Trion constant. One forged from death and resurrection. The other shaped by the primal scream of unstoppable being. The multiverse paused to watch. As the bell of cosmic fate began to toll, Godspawn extended his hand, and the battlefield formed beneath them. A crater of layered dimensions, encircled by dead gods and ancient time loops. Trion Juggernaut cracked his neck, eyes burning with force. For him, movement meant victory. For Spawn, resistance meant survival. And in the silence before the first blow, one final thought echoed in the void. What happens when an unstoppable force meets a divine purpose? The answer would be written in blood, broken universes, and the shattered bones of legends. The battlefield was not made of stone or fire, nor was it bound to time. It was a swirling dimension forged from raw thought and godly resonance. A CC, space outside of reality created by Godspawn to prevent the annihilation of the universe. Galaxies floated like ash. Time loops spun like dying stars. Here only two constants remained, Godspawn and Trion Juggernaut. The moment broke like a storm. Trion Juggernaut moved first, not with speed, but with inevitability. Each step shattered the plane of existence. His fists burned with red-orange energy, the pure embodiment of the Trion forces, strength, will, and mind. A punch launched forward, not just towards Spawn's body, but at the very concept of his resistance. Spawn raised the chrono sigil, and time around, the fist buckled. The blade sang as it met the blow, carving a trail of golden fire through the air, but the momentum did not stop. It never could. Spawn was hurled backward, smashing through 100 realities in a heartbeat. Celestial remnants exploded around him. Nebulae screamed, but he didn't fall. In mid-tumble, Spawn spun, his cape unraveling into seraphic tendrils, each one latching onto the threads of fate that bound the arena. They pulled him upright. He raised his hand, and a storm of necroplasmic judgment burst from his palm, raining down like nuclear justice. It struck Juggernaut in waves. Other beings would have turned to dust, but Juggernaut walked through it, unstoppable, his armor cracking, only to reveal more force within. He grabbed the energy itself, not the blast, but the principle, and crushed it in his hand. Spawn landed before him, boots hitting shattered time. "So you are worthy," he muttered. Then he unleashed heaven and hell. From his body exploded an apocalyptic wave, millions of chained souls from hell and wings of light from heaven. They spiraled around him, forming an avatar of divine judgment taller than suns. Spawn roared, and the creature lunged with 1,000 claws of justice. Juggernaut responded not with defense, but offense. He ran, and when Trion Juggernaut runs, the cosmos bends. The avatar shattered into fragments with a single collision. Spawn was flung upward into the stratosphere of the battlefield, where dead gods watched silently. Juggernaut didn't pause. He leapt after him, his jump powered by the very laws of inevitability. But in the void above, Spawn waited, with his last card drawn. The Eye of Necrocreation, a swirling orb within his chest, pulsing with the last spark of the Creator. It blinked open. Time froze. Not for Juggernaut, but for everything else. Stars halted mid-collapse. Atoms paused mid-vibration. Even thoughts slowed. And into that silence, Spawn moved faster than light, slicing with the chrono sigil, not at Juggernaut's body, but his spiritual tether, the Trion core buried deep within his being. Each strike hit not matter but meaning. The nature of unstoppable itself began to bleed. Juggernaut stumbled. But then, the Trion woke. Inside Juggernaut, the mind force ignited, resisting the temporal cut. The will force surged, binding his essence tighter. The physical force exploded, and with it, Trion Juggernaut transformed. He grew, taller than time, broader than worlds. His armor reconfigured into living symbols. His eyes burned like twin creation engines. He raised his hand and clapped. The shockwave ended light. Spawn dropped, cape in tatters, eyes dim. Still he stood. "This is why I was made," he whispered. With a scream that shattered angelic choirs, Spawn summoned the crown of paradox, a forbidden halo of merged divine truths. He placed it on his brow, his voice now echoing as both god and demon. He flew forward, not to attack but to bind. Chains laced with the souls of fallen universes wrapped around Juggernaut, each one burning with the truth of sacrifice. Spawn crashed into him, not with violence but with purpose. "You are power, but I am reason. I give meaning to your path." Juggernaut roared, tearing chains apart. Breaking free, but something was happening. For the first time, the Trion hesitated. The concept of motion had met the reason for movement. The force that could not stop met a will that could not surrender. And the scales tipped. With one last cry, Godspawn opened the eye fully, unleashing a surge of divine rewrite. The concept of unstoppable was rewritten into unchanging. The Juggernaut's power froze, not in defeat, but in containment. He was sealed, trapped within a pocket realm crafted from his own certainty, unable to move unless the cosmos demanded it again. The arena shattered. Light returned. Godspawn knelt, broken, scarred, but victorious. He had not destroyed the Juggernaut. He couldn't. No one could. But he had done something far more profound. He gave the unstoppable a reason to pause, and in that pause, justice won.